Okay, Wagwan, my good people. So welcome back. We will be picking up from where we left, which was we started on our Google page, and we have our little nice Google logo here, our input where we can type what we want to search, the buttons, and so on. In this video, I would love for us to finish or continue styling this page. We'll see if we can finish. Continue styling this page, style the footer, style the navigation up here, so that it can look a little bit like this. Okay, now let's get right into it. So right here I have my footer, and if I want to style it, I've been using class names so far, maybe here where I used input. So I could give it a class, but I don't need to do that because for now I only have one footer. So what I can do is I'll just call it right here, footer. Okay. Now what do we want? We want to place, see this footer, okay? This footer is at the bottom of this page. Footers are normally at the bottom of the page. But if I'm to look at this Google page, there's no scrolling, there's no nothing. So that kind of tells me that this page, the body or this containing parent, is the width is 100% of the viewport, and then the height is also like 100% of the viewport. So, and it's just, within the body. This looks like to me it was positioned to just be at the bottom of the page, which is normally how you want to do your footer. So what I will come and do is, so in this, we are going to touch on positioning. So with position could take a number of values. Already VS Code here is suggesting absolute, fixed, relative, static, sticky. And then you have here the global values. These are the values we are concerned with. Okay, by default an element is positioned with static, meaning it's in the normal flow, okay, of a page. For today we are going to use absolute, and what happens with position absolute, it takes it out of the normal flow of the page. Okay, and maybe to explain a little bit, let me have here my drawing, my body here. Okay, so if let's assume this is our document that we have. Okay, this is our web page. Now this web page has a normal flow whereby you start an element here and it will go like this. Okay, what we want to do is we want to get our footer and position it here at the bottom here. Okay, right here. Now with so with the document, this page, you have here the top, you have, this would be my left, and then this would be my right. Okay, and then this would be my bottom. So what I want to do right now, when I give my footer position absolute, I've already taken it out of the normal flow. Right now my footer, because I've taken it's sort of hanging in space. So what I want to do is I want to say, okay, I'm going to anchor you to the bottom. So from the bottom of the page, I want to give you that distance of 0, and then from the left I want to give you a distance of 0 as well. Okay, so when I come here I'm going to say bottom. So let's say bottom, we are going to give it 0. We'll come and refresh. See, our footer moves to the bottom. Let me actually give this footer a border so that we can see a little bit of what's happening. I'll give it a border of 1 pixel solid red. So refresh. This is my little footer that I have right here. Okay, Now you normally want to give an anchor of at least two. From here, you have the top, left, right, bottom. You want for an element, you want to of those two properties, you want to define at least two of them. So from the left, we also want a distance of 0 because it's starting from there, okay? So it has no effect, it's already positioned on the left. If I defined right, to say I want it to start from the right with a position of that, it will go to the right. But I want mine to start from the left, okay? And then I want to give it a width of 100% because I want it to occupy the whole width of the parent. And in this case, the parent is the body. So right here, the parent for this footer or its closest ancestor is, so these are just its siblings, or call them neighbors. So in my footer here, you see it's nested within the body. So right now its position absolute is relative to the body. Okay, so it's in my body, of course, is this all the document that I have here. Now, something that I don't like that I'm seeing is, you see this vertical bar that I have here. I don't like it. So I think, okay, what's happening here? Let me first come here on all elements. I want to define the box sizing border box, and then let me refresh here, see what happens. Okay, with box sizing border box, you see it's not happening. Like, I don't have that vertical bar. Why was that happening? That was happening if, let me come back here and explain why, what I've just done with box sizing border box. So now with CSS has this paradigm, or call it concept, or whatever, called the box model, or generally how CSS really works is you want to think of everything as a box, okay? This is what I mean when I say think of everything as a box. Each element, when you think of each element as a box, so you have, so if let's say this footer, this is the footer element, okay? Yeah, challenges with the pen. Okay, let me re-explain this concept. Okay, so I have here, let's say my footer is a box right here. So most elements are going to be boxes. And when you think of the box whereby, let's say I define the footer. So as a box, it will have the content. So the content will go in here. Okay. Then with how CSS works, you have, so from the content, outside of the content here, you have a padding region. So you have the padding, and then of course we have the border. And then because CSS is formed of multiple your page is going to have multiple elements, so which each element is like a box. You have the distance between this box and this box, which is the margin. Now with box sizing, what initially happened, because it was set, so with box sizing, what was happening is on top of the width that we had defined, we had added a border. And now that border, the width of the border, so after the 100%, the width of the border, which we had done 1 pixel, okay, was getting added to have the whole, so you have the 100% plus that 1 pixel, because we said 1 pixel solid red, to have the whole width. But now that's the default box property that's there. That's how it will be calculated, content box. But with border box, what I've done is I've said, okay, I want this padding, rather this border, and if I define padding etc, to be part of the width of this box. Okay, and that's how I've gotten to do away with this, with that scroll effect. So everything here is it's part of the width of this footer right now. Okay, so let's continue. What do we have here? So I have now within my footer I'd created, so I have a div here and then a div here. All of them sort of have the same background. And then there's like this border down here. So I can even see how I can decide to inspect and see how Google did it. First of all, I want to pick this background color. So this is the background that they gave. I can just copy this and then come back here to my footer here. Is this a background color? I can come and refresh. Okay, this is the background color. Now, so this, you see this box has a border, the bottom border here. So what is this bottom border? I could decide to inspect and see what's the actual color of this bottom border. So this div, yeah, it has a border bottom, and then see, that's it. It's defined inside this variable, and then this the variable. Okay, they use CSS variables or something, and so this first div, I could come and give it a class name, call it class location, maybe location, which is probably country. Yeah, I'm really terrible at these variable names. So border. So with border, you want to define the border bottom, which is we can say 1 pixel solid, and that's the color. So you have here 1 pixel. Yeah, it's 1 pixel solid, whatever that is. So when I come here and I refresh, I see Tanzania now has that my border. I want, it looks thin, you can see. So what I want is I want to extend the content area. And how you extend the content area is padding. If I come back here to this my image that I drew here, in CSS you really want to think of most of all elements really as boxes. Okay, so what's padding for? And this illustration is for people who are not familiar with let's say what padding is. So if this is your box, so here the content, okay, so within here you're going to have your content, in each case which is Tanzania. So between the content and the border, this area is the padding. So what we want to do is we want to increase this area between the content and the border. That's padding. And so padding takes all these variables. So you have the padding top, you have the padding on the right, you have the padding on the bottom, you have the padding on the left. So you can define each individual padding, or you can just use the shorthand, which is padding. So this will apply padding on all sides. And so what I'm going to do here is, should I copy the padding they applied or what? So this is the padding they applied. Okay. Let me just copy this. Copying this, I come here, and now this padding is a shorthand. Let me first come and if I refresh, you see it's increased, or it's been beefed up. Now what's the shorthand that we've just used? This is my div that where we've applied the padding. If you expand this, you see padding top, padding right, padding bottom, padding left. So padding top is 15 pixels, padding bottom is 15 pixels, and then padding right is 30 pixels. So let me explain this shorthand. If I came here, okay, and then I said I defined my padding. So this padding could take a value of, okay, so let's say I define just one value, padding 15 pixel. This means this padding is going to be applied top, right, bottom, and then left. And notice how I've intentionally gone clockwise, sort of like clockwise. So if I came and I defined padding two values and I said 15 pixels and then maybe 10 pixels, this shorthand, what does this shorthand means? It means that this 15, I want you to apply it top and bottom, and then this 10, I want you to apply it right and left. Okay? Now, if I did if let's say I did 15 pixels and then I defined 10 pixels and then maybe 30 pixels, and this was the shorthand. So what would this shorthand mean? It's actually for illustration so that I make sure I'm not 15 pixel, maybe we did 10 pixels, a shorthand of 3. What would it mean? If you expand here, you can see top 15, right is 10, bottom is 30, and then left is 10. So how that goes is the very first value is applied top, okay? And then this, so that we don't, let's use the same exact, so we use 15, 10, and 30 so that we don't confuse ourselves, because this shorthand can really get confusing. So if you see that, you know that the top is the one, the top here has been given this middle value, okay, rather, so that you always start with the top, sorry. So the top has taken the first value, and then you have the right taking this the 10 pixels, and then you have the bottom taking the 30 pixels. So this middle value is split between the right and then the left. And then if I defined, so here if I defined a shorthand of, okay, 15 pixels, 10 pixels, maybe 30 pixels, and then 40 pixels. So that means this one is easy. It means this top, right. So it always goes top, right, left, top, right, bottom, and then left. So top, right, bottom, finally left. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to explain a bit of padding there. Let's see. Okay. Where are we? We are here. Refresh. Let me remove this 10. So we've defined our padding. Now, if you realize something, so location has the same padding as this down about advertising, business, bottom nav. So because I don't want to repeat myself, I could give these two the same class. So I would say class here, and then so I could call this bottom nav. I mean, it's not bottom nav, but it's just so. And then this same class name, a component, rather an element can have more than one class name. So even here, I would come and say, so I would say bottom nav, and then I want to get this padding value, and apply it here to the bottom so that both components get that padding. And then what I'm going to do is, let me remove this border so that we see that properly. We're almost there. So we have our footer Tanzania, and then we have, so in here there's a couple of ways I could style this. So I have about advertising business. How did I define them? About advertising business, how search works. And then I did another UL, which is privacy, terms and settings. So I could have my other I could have another unordered list here, and then I could call it privacy. So I could call it privacy, terms and settings, terms, settings. And then what I can do, so I have a UL, so this is a UL, this tag is already closing this, I don't want, so I remove this so that my HTML is clean. Inspect to see if there are any complaints, no complaints, no sort of issues, no breaking code. What I could do is actually I could now, this is bottom nav. I could actually remove, let me give this a different class. What class could we call this? Actually, let this be the bottom navigation, and then we could call this footer element because it's an element in the footer. And then also call this, there are many ways you could do this. You could just direct all divs in the footer, but let me go with this. So I'll come here, and then the footer element is where they share the same padding. So let me see. Okay, still padding is being applied, and then I can come here to now this bottom nav. One thing I could first say, bottom nav, remember display flex, we could first say I want this element to be display flex. Okay, so with display flex they are stacked with each other, and then I could use justify content, say space between, to really push them on the side. Okay, and then for this, okay, so I think you see where I'm going with this. Okay, now for the list items, first of all we can start by removing my list items. They don't have these dots. Okay, now sometimes when you're coding, some of these things I do not have them 100% stuck in my head. I Google. So remove bullets. So you can just say remove, you can Google something like remove bullets from list items, CSS. And then any link really normally would have what you need. So you'd come here, scroll through. You should already know, I probably already know what I'm looking for. Yeah, here, list style none. So I want on all my unordered list elements, I don't want to have a list style. And then when I refresh, all of them don't have that list style. Okay, but the way they are stacked against each other, for some sites, they are like this. You'll always find the elements like this. But for these, they are not like this. They you could have even used display flex to put them against each other. But now let's look at display as so here by default it's display block, display inline. No, that doesn't work. Do I put it on each list item? Okay, let's try something. List item, we could go about it like this: display inline. So each list item is display inline. Okay, looks like that works. So with a block element, it means the next element goes to the next line. However, with inline, it says, okay, the next element, or it rather, with block, you occupy the whole width. So the next element will go to the next line. With inline, it will only occupy the area it's needed for its content. Okay. And all these, as we are doing this, I see they're also being applied to the navigation up here, to the upper navigation, the Gmail, the images, and then the sign in. And so let's go ahead and style these, the images, the L, and the sign in. So this button, we could even start with this button. When I inspect, we want to copy its styles. We can start by copying its background color. This is its background color. This looks like its background color, so we could just copy its background. So when I come here, where is this my sign in button? So I could give it a class or an ID of sign, not sync, but sign in. And then you can always, your elements, you can give them any class. Sign in. So background is blue, and then boom, there you go, blue. We want the text to be color, the color of the text, we want it to be white. So when defining most of these color properties, the value, the color value could be a number, rather could be this, could be the word, like the keyword white, red, etc. These colors, they are keywords that CSS would understand. Or could be the RGBA value that we've not seen, or could just be this hexadecimal code. Okay, the browser will understand those. Let's add some padding to it. Let's give it a padding of like maybe 10 pixels. Okay, let's remove the border. It looks like it has that black border here that we do not want. So to remove the border, you could just say border none. Okay, so border here is none. And now let's give it a border radius. We could give it a border radius of like 10 pixels. Okay, maybe increase this to 15. Okay, I mean it's close, not exactly there, but it's close. Okay, we have a lot to cover, and this is the thing when you're writing styles from scratch, you keep trying different things to achieve what you want. Now let's so this so you see how it's positioned on the right. I could try different things to position it on the right. So this my this okay, this unordered list is this unordered list here. Let me inspect. So from this my unordered list, I could, let me say border, so that I can see what I'm working with. Border 1 pixel solid red. Okay, that's the list there. I could actually just say text align right to push it to the right. There you go, and now it's on the right. That unordered list, I could give it some padding so that there's some space between from up here and there. So I could just say padding here all around. So I could say, I could come here, let me right click inspect. So I could just say padding. The top, maybe top, I want to give it 15 pixels. Okay. And then so 15 pixels is being applied all through. Let me first close this and I see how I feel. I actually like 15 pixels up and then on the right and the bottom. Yeah, I'm kind of liking it. So I'll just copy the styles that I've added here through the browser. Okay, and I want to add them to I could give this a class of top nav because I don't want to apply them to all. And then when I come here, actually my top nav, I could even just have it up here, top nav. And then when I come here, I could add my styles. So now when I refresh, I want to take away this border. I don't need this border now. It has showed, I was just using it for styling purposes. Okay. And then on top nav, okay, I can decide to target each li element. And then each li element, I can give it, each list item will give it a padding of 15 pixels. But then like this 15 pixels, I want it to be on left and right. So for top and whatever, because I don't want to add for the top and bottom, I'll give it 0. And then let me reduce this to 10. Cool. There's a button here missing, but that's something we can add in a later video. So with what we have here, I have Gmail, images, the missing button, and then the sign in. It's looking good so far. I like what we have so far. Let me see, maybe in the next video we can add, what am I thinking? The next video, should we start with CSS rather with JavaScript, or we can add these links? Yeah, let me think. But you can also let me in the comment section if you want me to finish styling this page, or if you just want me to go into the JavaScript and see how, when you type in this value in the browser, the magic that happens. Yeah, thank you and see you in the next video.